Ethan's phone buzzed, a single text from Caleb lighting up the screen. "We need to talk." His pulse quickened. He'd left his tech job in Chicago's Loop early, eager to surprise Caleb with their favorite takeout. The words echoed in his mind as he climbed the stairs to their shared apartment, a bag of food in hand. 2 years together, late-night talks, shared dreams, made the vague message feel like a splinter under his skin. What could Caleb need to say that couldn't wait? He pushed open the door, and the world stopped. Laughter filled the air, sharp and unfamiliar. Caleb sat on the couch, his arm draped around a stranger, their bodies too close for it to be innocent. Ethan's keys slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor. The sound snapped Caleb's head up, his eyes wide with shock. "Ethan, wait," he stammered, untangling himself. The stranger froze, a deer caught in headlights. Ethan's chest tightened, his breath shallow. He didn't wait for explanations. He turned, the takeout bag abandoned, and walked out, each step heavier than the last. The Chicago streets blurred as Ethan wandered, the September chill biting at his skin. His mind raced, replaying moments he thought defined them. Caleb's laugh during their first date at a jazz club, the way he'd promised forever over coffee last month. Had it all been a lie? The betrayal gnawed at him, a raw wound that refused to dull. He didn't know where he was going, only that he couldn't go back. His phone vibrated, Caleb's name flashing, but he silenced it, shoving it deep into his pocket. Hours later, Ethan found himself in a dive bar, the kind where neon signs flickered and the air smelled of stale beer. He slid into a booth, nursing a beer that tasted more bitter than it should. The bar was a haze of low voices and clinking glasses, but it couldn't drown out the questions screaming in his head. How long had Caleb been lying? Was Ethan not enough? The weight of it pressed down, making his chest ache. He stared at the bottle, peeling the label, trying to piece together, when everything had started to unravel. His phone buzzed again. Another text from Caleb. "Please let me explain." Ethan's jaw clenched. Explain what? That he'd thrown away their life for a stranger? He typed a reply. "Don't bother," but deleted it. Words felt useless. Instead, he scrolled through their old messages, each one a reminder of a trust now shattered. A photo of them at Lake Michigan, smiling, mocked him. He locked the screen, his throat tight. The bar's door creaked open, and a man walked in, his presence cutting through the haze. He moved with purpose, scanning the room before his gaze landed on Ethan. "Mind if I sit?" he asked, his voice low and steady. Ethan hesitated, then nodded. The man slid into the booth, introducing himself as Marcus. "Rough night?" he asked, signaling for a drink. Ethan let out a hollow laugh. "You could say that." Marcus didn't push, just sipped his drink, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to Ethan's storm. "Want to talk about it?" he offered, his tone free of judgment. Ethan didn't know why, but the words spilled out. The text, the betrayal, the stranger on the couch. Marcus listened, nodding, his silence inviting Ethan to keep going. "I thought we were solid," Ethan said, his voice cracking. "Now I don't know what to believe." Marcus leaned forward, his eyes steady. "Betrayal cuts deep, but it doesn't define you. You're still here, figuring it out. That's something." His words landed like a lifeline, pulling Ethan from the spiral. For the first time that night, he felt a flicker of clarity, though the pain still pulsed beneath it. Caleb's texts kept coming, each one more desperate. It was a mistake. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Ethan's finger hovered over the block button, but he couldn't press it. Not yet. The wound was too fresh, the questions too loud. Marcus watched him, as if sensing the storm inside. "You don't have to decide tonight," he said. "Give yourself time." Ethan nodded, the knot in his chest loosening just enough to breathe. But then his phone lit up again. Not Caleb this time, but his mother. "Caleb called. He's worried about you." "What's going on?" Ethan's stomach dropped. Caleb had reached out to his family, the same family who'd never fully accepted Ethan's truth. The thought of their judgment, his mother's sighs, his father's lectures about settling down, made his blood boil. The betrayal wasn't just Caleb's anymore. It was spreading, threatening to pull Ethan under. Ethan stared at the beer bottle, its label half torn from his nervous picking. The dive bar's low hum of voices and clinking glasses couldn't quiet the storm in his head. Caleb's betrayal replayed like a broken record. His arm around a stranger, their laughter slicing through Ethan's trust. Marcus, the stranger across the booth, leaned back, his calm presence a stark contrast to Ethan's unraveling. "You look like you're carrying the weight of the world," Marcus said, his voice steady, inviting without prying. Ethan exhaled, the words spilling out before he could stop them. "My ex-boyfriend, cheated. Walked in on him tonight with someone else." His voice cracked, the rawness of it surprising even him. Marcus nodded, his silence encouraging Ethan to continue. 2 years, and I didn't see it coming. I thought we were happy." He clenched the bottle, the cold glass grounding him as the ache in his chest flared. Marcus took a sip of his drink, then leaned forward. "That kind of hurt. It's like a punch you don't brace for. I've been there." His tone carried a weight that made Ethan look up. "You're not the first to feel this, and you won't be the last. But it's not the end of your story." The words landed softly, cutting through Ethan's fog of self-doubt. Marcus wasn't just a stranger. He seemed to understand the pain in a way that felt personal. "What do you mean you've been there?" Ethan asked, curiosity overriding his hesitation. Marcus paused, as if weighing how much to share. "Came out in my 20s, he said finally. "Thought I'd found someone who got me. But he walked away when I refused to hide who I was. Friends turned their backs too, said I was confused. It's a different kind of betrayal, but it stings just as much." Ethan's breath caught. Marcus's story mirrored his own fears, the rejection, the isolation. Yet here Marcus was, steady, unshaken. Ethan's phone buzzed again, Caleb's name flashing. "I'm sorry, can we talk?" Ethan's jaw tightened. He shoved the phone away, but Marcus caught the motion. "He's persistent," Marcus said, not judging, just observing. "Yeah, too late for that," Ethan muttered. "He called my parents. Now they're texting me, acting like I'm the one who messed up." He scrolled to his mother's latest message. "Caleb says, 'You're not yourself. Come home. We'll figure this out.'" The words burned. His family had never accepted him being gay, always pushing him to fix himself. Now Caleb's betrayal had given them ammunition. Marcus leaned in, his voice low but firm. "You don't owe them, or him, an explanation. You get to decide who you are, not them." Ethan looked at him, the words sinking in. For the first time that night, he felt a spark of defiance. "Easier said than done," he said, a bitter edge to his voice. "My family thinks I'm a problem to be solved." Marcus nodded, understanding. "Mine did too. Took years to realize their judgment wasn't my truth. You'll get there, Ethan. You're stronger than you know." The sincerity in his voice made Ethan's throat tighten. He didn't feel strong, but Marcus's belief in him was a lifeline, pulling him from the edge of despair. The bartender called last call, but Ethan wasn't ready to leave. Marcus seemed to sense it. "There's a diner nearby. Open all night. Want to keep talking?" he asked. Ethan hesitated, then nodded. The idea of being alone with his thoughts was unbearable. They stepped into the Chicago night, the cool air sharp against Ethan's skin. As they walked, Marcus shared more, how he'd found a community that embraced him, how he'd rebuilt after his own heartbreak. Each story chipped away at Ethan's isolation, planting a seed of hope. At the diner, over coffee and greasy fries, Ethan found himself opening up more. He talked about the pressure to fit his family's expectations, the fear of being judged at work if he was too open about who he was. Marcus listened, never interrupting, his quiet strength grounding Ethan. "You're not alone in this," Marcus said as their cups emptied. "There's a whole world of people who'll see you for you. You just have to find them." Ethan's phone buzzed again. Another text from Caleb. He ignored it, a small act of rebellion. Marcus's words echoed in his mind. "You get to decide who you are." For the first time that night, Ethan felt the faint stirrings of something new. Not just pain, but possibility. Ethan woke to the buzz of his phone, the screen glowing with unread messages. Caleb's texts piled up. "I messed up, Ethan. Please talk to me." But it was his mother's message that cut deeper. "Caleb's worried you're spiraling. Come home. We can fix this. Fix this." The words stung, a reminder of his family's refusal to accept him as a gay man. Ethan tossed the phone onto the bed, his stomach churning. Caleb hadn't just betrayed him. He'd dragged his family into it, weaponizing their judgment. Last night's conversation with Marcus lingered, a faint anchor in the storm. His words, "You get to decide who you are," echoed as Ethan paced his apartment. He wanted to believe them, but the weight of his family's expectations pressed harder. His parents had never understood his life in Chicago, always hinting he'd be better off back in Ohio, living their version of normal. Now, with Caleb's call to them, their disapproval felt like a noose tightening. Ethan grabbed his jacket and headed to work, hoping the routine of his tech job would dull the ache. But his phone kept buzzing. Another text from his mother. "You're breaking our hearts, Ethan. Think about your future." He clenched his fists, anger flaring. His future, they meant a life that erased who he was. He silenced the notifications, but the tension followed him through the day, every email and meeting tinged with distraction. By late afternoon, Ethan's resolve cracked. He agreed to meet Caleb at a coffee shop near the Loop, driven by a need for answers. Caleb was already there, his posture slouched, eyes darting nervously. "I'm so sorry," he started, voice low. "It was a one-time thing. I was drunk, stressed. It didn't mean anything." Ethan's jaw tightened. The excuses felt rehearsed, hollow. "You called my parents," he said, his voice sharp. "You told them I'm the problem." Caleb flinched. "I was worried about you. I thought they'd help." Ethan laughed bitterly. "Help? They think I need fixing because of you." Caleb reached for his hand, but Ethan pulled back. "I love you, Ethan. We can work through this." The words sounded sincere, but they rang false, like a script meant to pull Ethan back into a lie. He stood, shaking his head. "You don't get to decide what I deserve anymore." Back at his apartment, Ethan's phone lit up again. His father this time. Your mother's right. This lifestyle isn't you. Come home. The word lifestyle hit like a slap. Ethan's anger boiled over, but beneath it was a deeper hurt. The realization that his family's love came with conditions. He thought of Marcus, his steady voice cutting through the chaos. Their judgment isn't your truth. Ethan wanted to believe it, but the weight of their words made him question everything. He texted Marcus, needing an anchor. Can we meet? Marcus replied quickly, Same bar, 8 p.m. When Ethan arrived, Marcus was already there, a coffee in hand, instead of a drink. You look like you're fighting a war, Marcus said, his tone light but laced with concern. Ethan slid into the booth, the story pouring out, his family's texts, Caleb's hollow apologies, the suffocating pressure to be someone he wasn't. Marcus listened, his calm grounding Ethan's spiraling thoughts. You're caught between who they want you to be and who you are, he said. I spent years there. My family cut me off when I came out. Said I was a disgrace. But I found people who saw me, not their idea of me. Ethan's chest tightened. What if I can't do that? What if I'm not strong enough? Marcus leaned forward, his voice firm. You're here, facing this. That's strength. You don't have to fight alone. He slid a flyer across the table, an LGBTQ+ meetup group in Chicago. Come with me tomorrow. Meet people who've been where you are. Ethan hesitated, the idea both daunting and hopeful. But Marcus's certainty, his quiet resolve, sparked something in him, a flicker of defiance against the voices trying to pull him down. As they left the bar, Ethan's phone buzzed again. Caleb, I won't give up on us. Ethan stared at the screen, then blocked the number. It wasn't closure, not yet, but it was a step. The night air felt lighter, Marcus's presence a reminder that he wasn't as alone as he thought. Tomorrow he'd face the meetup, unsure but willing to try. Ethan's stomach churned as he stepped into the community center, the hum of voices filling the air. The LGBTQ+ meetup Marcus had invited him to was already underway, with people gathered in small groups, sharing stories and laughter. Ethan hesitated at the door, his nerves buzzing. Marcus gave him a reassuring nod. You've got this, he said, his voice steady. Ethan took a deep breath and followed him inside, unsure but drawn by the promise of connection. The room was alive with energy, people of all ages sharing experiences that echoed Ethan's own. A young man spoke about leaving a small town where he'd been shunned. A woman shared how she rebuilt after a partner's betrayal. Each story chipped away at Ethan's isolation, their resilience a mirror to the strength Marcus insisted he had. During a break, Marcus opened up more. My ex left me because I wouldn't hide who I was, he said, his tone matter-of-fact. My family stopped talking to me after I came out. Thought I'd lost everything. But places like this, they showed me I wasn't alone. Ethan's throat tightened. Marcus's story wasn't just words. It was a lifeline, proof that survival was possible. How did you keep going? Ethan asked. Marcus shrugged, a faint smile breaking through. One day at a time. Found people who saw me for me. You will too. The words sank in, stirring a spark of hope Ethan hadn't felt in days. But the past wasn't done with him. As Ethan left the meetup, his phone buzzed, a new number, but the message was unmistakably Caleb's. I'm not giving up. Meet me tonight. Anger flared. Ethan had blocked him, yet Caleb found a way to intrude, his persistence feeling more like control than remorse. Against his better judgment, Ethan agreed to meet at a park near his apartment, driven by a need to end this for good. Caleb was waiting on a bench, his posture tense. "I know I hurt you," he started, his voice low. "But we can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes." Ethan's fists clenched. The words sounded sincere, but they were laced with the same manipulation he'd seen before. "You don't get it," Ethan said, his voice sharp. "You didn't just cheat. You went to my family, made them think I'm the problem. You don't respect me." Caleb's eyes narrowed. "You're overreacting. Your family's right. You need to calm down." The words hit like a spark to gasoline. Ethan stepped closer, his voice steady despite the fire inside. "I'm done letting you, or anyone, tell me who I should be. I deserve better than this." Caleb reached for him, but Ethan stepped back. "Don't contact me again." He turned, heart pounding, each step away from Caleb feeling like a chain breaking. For the first time, Ethan felt the weight of his own power, the right to define his life. Back at his apartment, Ethan called Marcus, needing to share the moment. "I told him it's over," he said, his voice trembling with adrenaline. Marcus's response was immediate. "That's you choosing yourself, Ethan. That's strength." They talked late into the night, Marcus sharing more about his own journey, how he'd faced co-workers who whispered behind his back, how he'd built a life true to himself. "The world will try to box you in," Marcus said, "but you decide what fits." Ethan lay awake after the call, replaying the night. The meetup had shown him a community that understood his struggles. Confronting Caleb had shown him his own resolve. His family's texts still sat unanswered, his mother's latest pleading for him to come home and talk. But their version of home wasn't his anymore. Marcus's words echoed, "You don't have to fight alone." Ethan opened his phone and typed a response to his mother. "I'm figuring out my life. I need you to respect that." He hit send, his chest lighter. The next morning, Ethan walked to a coffee shop, the flyer for the next meetup tucked in his pocket. The Chicago skyline stretched ahead, a reminder of the life he was building. Caleb's shadow lingered, but it was fading. Ethan wasn't just surviving. He was starting to believe he could thrive. Ethan stepped into his new apartment, the faint scent of fresh paint lingering as he set down a box of books. The move marked a clean break, new space, new start. Caleb's betrayal, once a raw wound, had dulled to a lesson. Ethan's phone stayed quiet now. Blocking Caleb's new number had been his final stand. The silence felt like freedom, a chance to rebuild, without the weight of someone else's choices pulling him down. Marcus had become a steady presence, their friendship growing through late-night talks and shared coffee runs. "You're doing the work," Marcus said one evening, handing Ethan a mug as they sat on a park bench, overlooking Lake Michigan. "Moving on, choosing yourself, that's not easy." Ethan nodded, the words settling deep. Marcus's own story, of rebuilding after his family's rejection and a partner's abandonment, had shown Ethan what was possible. "You make it sound simple," Ethan said, half smiling. Marcus chuckled. "It's not, but it's worth it." The LGBTQ+ meetup group had become Ethan's anchor. Every Wednesday, he joined the circle of voices sharing stories of struggle and triumph. A trans woman spoke of finding her voice after years of silence. A non-binary teen described their first Pride event, eyes bright with hope. Ethan shared his own journey, Caleb's betrayal, his family's pressure, his defiance in the park. The group listened, their nods and smiles a quiet affirmation. "You're not alone," one member said, echoing Marcus's words. Ethan felt it now, a sense of belonging that filled the cracks left by rejection. His family's messages hadn't stopped. His father's latest text read, "We just want you to be happy, Ethan." But their version of happiness meant erasing who he was. Ethan replied, his fingers steady, "I'm finding my own happiness. I hope you can support that someday." Sending it felt like closing a door, not fully shut, but no longer wide open. He wasn't ready to cut them off, but he wouldn't let their judgment define him anymore. Caleb's absence was its own justice. Word had spread among mutual friends. His mistake wasn't a one-time slip, but a pattern. His charm a mask for selfishness. Ethan felt no satisfaction in it, only relief. Caleb's actions had cost him trust, leaving him to face the consequences alone. Ethan, meanwhile, was building something new. At the meetup, he volunteered to help organize a community event, his voice steady as he pitched ideas. The group's encouragement fueled a confidence he hadn't known he had. One evening, as Ethan and Marcus walked through Chicago's bustling streets, the city lights reflecting off the river, Marcus stopped. "You're different now," he said, his tone warm, lighter, like you're starting to see yourself. Ethan paused, the truth of it sinking in. "I'm getting there," he said, "thanks to you and them." He gestured toward the community center in the distance, its windows glowing. Marcus shook his head. "You did the hard part. I just pointed the way." At the next meetup, Ethan laughed freely, swapping stories with new friends. A young man named Sam invited him to a local art show, and Ethan said yes without hesitation, a spark of excitement replacing the caution he once carried. The Chicago skyline stretched before him as he left, a canvas of possibility. Caleb's betrayal had shattered his world, but the pieces were coming together differently, stronger, truer. Ethan wasn't fully healed. Some nights, doubt crept in, whispering that he'd never be enough. But those moments were fleeting, drowned out by the voices of his new community, by Marcus's quiet strength, by his own growing resolve. He was enough, exactly as he was. As he walked home, the cool September air sharp against his skin, Ethan felt a peace he hadn't known in years. The future was uncertain, but it was his to shape. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell. More stories are coming that will move you, inspire you, and challenge the way you see your own journey. Every story matters, and each one brings us closer to who we are meant to become.